So, hi, good morning, everyone. And this is about our course on learning and teaching, basically for Bachelor of Education students. And in this video, basically, uh, we'll talk about teacher autonomy. Teacher autonomy in terms of seeing that uh, how do we recognize that a teacher is autonomous or not? What makes one identify whether this teacher is autonomous teacher or is not an autonomous teacher? When I say autonomy and an autonomous teacher, autonomy basically means self-rule, right? A teacher who is able to rule or give rules to oneself, right? Which means um, I would say a teacher who is able to take charge of her own conduct. Am I right? I mean, a conduct meaning to say that a teacher takes actions, and these actions are responsible actions. Um, these actions she takes up based on the constraints that she has in front of her, and basically none of the external um, I would say member or you know body or person gets involved in saying what is right for her to do, but she knows what is right for her to do at that point of time, keeping into consideration um, the rights and needs of others, right? So whatever I do, um, naturally I will take into consideration that my conduct should not negatively affect others, right? My behavior should not negatively affect others. Plus, I'll do something that is responsible. So it is basically a freedom with responsibility, right? So we are trying to say what are how will you know whether a teacher is autonomous or not? So the first aspect is, I'll not discuss this because I've been discussing this um, in my classes a lot. So I'll not go ahead with this. This basically talks about the negotiation skills of teacher. And negotiation itself means that something that is something that you reach at, you know, with consensus of everybody. I mean, something that is, you know, uh, reached at by discussing it with the people, involved in it, and it is reached at by an agreement. I mean, everybody is okay with that decision or that aspect. So it basically talks about teachers' negotiation skills. And at times we need to do a lot of things in terms of, negotiating with the students in the class, and negotiating between the students, with the students, between the students. So with the students is the teacher and the student. Between the students is between the students, various the smaller groups that you might have in the class with the teacher. Uh, Negotiating with the parents, because at times I think that is the most important aspect for you as a teacher, because uh, you will have to uh, take care of the parents, make sure that you give them the right feedback, make sure you give the feedback in the right possible way, right? And um, and convince the parent that whatever you are doing for the child is with the right intent, with the right aim, right? And even negotiating with other professionals. So you have many, I mean, you will have your colleagues, you have peers, you have students, and we need to understand that communicating with other educators is important as well for various things, common things that are there for the teacher. I mean, library facilities, playground facilities, audiovisual rooms, the classroom in itself, the student in itself. So you need to negotiate, say, for example, classes. I mean, um, there are 3 teachers teaching teaching a subject in 3 different divisions. And you need to understand that each teacher will require uh, that time with the students in the class. And so it is not only you who should be taking up all the time that of the students, but you also give equal time to the other teachers to do the things in your class, if you're a class teacher. So that equal distribution of time, and not you only taking up all the time. And accordingly, you want to complete syllabus in some other class, so you might have to negotiate for classes with other teachers. So that is required part of the teacher. I would talk about this in this video, where we are saying that ability to reflect on their own teaching process, on their means the teacher's teaching process. I think reflection is one important component of a teacher's life. And unless I am able to reflect on how am I teaching, and when she comes out with the points of how she's teaching, she also needs to reflect on that whether the way she's teaching is effective or not, whether the teachers, I mean, whether the students in front of her are responding or not, whether 95% of the students are responding and 5% are not responding, whether there are students who are creating, um, uh, issues in the class, or whether there are many good students in the class. So what is it of your class that is serving so well that 95% of the students are responding? What is that good thing in your class, or what is that thing in your class probably that 5% of the students are not able to understand? So in both the cases, positive and negative, we need to reflect. Unless we reflect, we do not know what strengths should we be capitalizing on and what improvement should we be looking at. Right? So reflection is one important component by way of which we are able to assess ourselves. And reflection serves as an assessment tool for us. I mean, nobody can assess me the best other than me. I mean, I know myself the best, and I should be able to assess myself the best. And that is the assumption that we take up here. So, if you see, ability to reflect on the teaching process means assessing oneself. Uh, I'll just pull out the pointer. Yeah. So, it means that you should be able to assess yourself uh, in terms of, like, once you finish with the class, once you complete with one class, you should be able to ask yourself, how was my class today? Whether I feel very good about my class, whether I feel neutral about my class, or whether I feel not so good about my class. How was my class? Uh, what did I do the best? Right? I mean, see, reflection is not only for just um, just reflecting about what went wrong. It is also about what went good in your class. And so when you know that this goes the best, this is what you're good at, I think you will be able to carry it forward well, right? And so what can I improve upon? The next point, when you know what is the best point in your class, you also need to understand where is it that you can make those improvements. Um, See, I will be able to assess myself well when I know how my colleagues are doing in their classes. I mean, that can also act as one aspect by which I can improve, right? So I do my teaching, I reflect on my teaching processes, but I also go to the other classes where the other teachers are teaching, of course, with their permission, and you see how they are teaching. That also may serve as a very good feedback or assessment to you, right? That these are the points that she takes up in the class. She goes, she takes a revision, she takes probing questions, she takes up her content, she closes with a concept map. So I know that these are the things that I can take up. since I'm not doing a couple of things in my class, vice versa. Um, Not only that, I think it is very important. If you see over here, I'm sorry, it is important to record this in journal, right? It is also important for you to record this in journal. So implicit reflections will not help. That is what we are trying to say. Explicit reflections are important. So as a teacher, I think you should always have a small diary with you, a notepad with you. Go out of the class, immediately note down few points of what is mentioned over here, record them, so that you have those, you will be able to see pattern over a period of time, that these are the things that I need to be looking at after a week. So that journal for a teacher is very important, a reflective journal probably. There should be some video recorded teaching practices. I mean, I am taking up a class and I'm recording my own video, right? So I know what kind of expressions I make when I teach. I know what kind of words that I use continuously uh, when I teach. I also should know uh, how do I, move in my class, how many students are responding in my class. That will be recorded when you have your video recorded sessions with you. You could also have teaching portfolio. So basically, these are the ways in which, these are the, the tools by which you should be able to reflect. That makes your reflection much easier, even this. So observation of the colleagues, journal recordings, video recordings, and portfolio. Portfolio is something where you, explicitly have um, your reflections recorded over a period of time. See, journal is something where you do it over probably after a class or so. So there are smaller recordings, but portfolio is something that you build up over a period of time. So you might have one whole document at the end of the year. Your good assessments, your erroneous assessments, your um, significant activities, your significant reflections. So that's one portfolio that you can have, and so by which you should be able to reflect for the years to come. It could serve as a long-term record for you. You could also have external feedback for observation. So I might invite teachers to my class, senior teachers to my class who have been in the field for a long period of time. I might invite my colleagues in my class to, give me um, feedback on the way I take up my classes. I might also have students giving me feedback. I think this is a very nice way to know how I am doing, because that comes directly from my stakeholder, right? What do you think I should be, taking up as a strategy so that you all respond well? What do you think I should be doing so that, you will take interest in my classes? Could be one way by way of which you reflect well. And faculty observations and feedback. You could have principals, you could have HODs, you could have coordinators coming to your class, giving you reflections, and that might help you to improve your practices, teaching, learning practices, right? And why to reflect? So why do you want reflections to happen as a teacher? You want to know the strengths and problems in your class when you teach, right? Once you know your strengths and once you know your problems, I think that helps to rectify things. Because unless you know, unless you make yourself aware of your strengths and problems, rectification is not possible. And at times, not rectifying, but capitalizing. So, rectification as well as capitalization will help to document the known and the unknown. So, you might know few things and you might be unknown, but once you start recording things, you might get awareness of that unknown things, right? So, reflecting on one probably may help you to change the other thought. Uh, since we are talking about self-rule, since we are talking about teacher autonomy, we want to become independent. We want to take decisions that are independent. Of course, while taking independent decisions, we do not want to affect the rights and needs of others. So how reflection helps in building teacher autonomy. So knowing the above will help to take charge. I know my strengths. I know where I need to improve upon. I have taken so many, students' feedback, teachers' feedback, coordinators' feedback. I become charge of my own behavior, right? Because I've known all these things. Now I know how to take up myself in the next academic year. So I become in charge of my own conduct, which is very important. Nobody else has to, then directly come and say, you didn't do this, you didn't do this, this is your mistake, you know. So it helps me to take charge of my own processes. It helps yourself and become less independent, right? So dependency is less than, because since you have invited all of that feedback, people understand that you are a responsible individual, a teacher who wants to improve. So then you become lesser dependent upon others. And that lesser dependency, that taking charge, that improvement that you need to do connects with teacher autonomy, right? So thank you for patiently listening to what I said. We discussed on teacher autonomy. By teacher autonomy we mean self rule. We also discussed on how ability to reflect can help us self rule. What is reflection? How can we do reflection? And what tools can you use for reflection? Thank you.